The Megillah is a te'ur, description of Achashverosh consolidating power. The first 3 years we said, Yoshev al kisei malchuto, the Gemara says, Bayamim ha'em keshevet hamelech, le'achar shenityashva da'ato. After he finally is able to sit and be calm. After 3 years of trying to pull everyone together, we said an empire of 127 medinot is very difficult to control. He now controls it. Our question was, now how do you keep your empire? Because every emperor, even after you consolidate your power, how do you keep it? That's the question. It's the real question. How do you keep your empire going, especially in such a huge empire? We said there are two basic shitot of how to do this, two methods of doing this. One, we called it the USSR method. One was the American method, the Soviet and the American. The Soviet one works through terror. And it is a dictatorship where you want to know every single thing that's happening everywhere. And you will make sure that there will be no dissent. And if everyone tries to fight, you will kill them or throw them to the gulag or do whatever you want. That is one shita. We said that is not the way Achashverosh goes. Achashverosh goes completely the other way. Achashverosh says, I want to be in control, but I want everyone to be here because they want to be here. We said with a caveat, right? A caveat that they want to be here, but there is always the threat. In other words, the power that he radiates from the palace and the richness, the vastness, the complete excess that he has here is to show people that there is no way they will be able to fight against him. Now I want to take that point, out to where we were there. I want to go a little deeper into that. Let's take a look at the psukim, okay? The psukim, we're taking a look here at the mishteh, okay? Now, we said 180 days. That's the time it takes to bring everyone there. In other words, he needs everyone. He wants everyone. He doesn't want anyone to miss this. The first mishteh, which is described here, the first party that's described is for the leadership. Really, that's what it says, straight out. The leadership, what is it? Sarei medinot lefanav. He has all the leaders. He brings them in. That's who he has. That's 180 days. Then there's another party. For 7 days. There's a machloket. I don't remember where I was looking for it. It's in the Gemara and then Midrash. I don't remember where it is. Where it's a machloket if everyone in the 180 days stayed for another 7 days. No, there's another party. It was an after party where more people come, or it was two separate parties. We're going to go according to the Shita that was another party. In other words, everyone was there 180 days stayed. And then there's a party for another group of people we're going to see in a second. But the 180-day people are still there. Okay, the party ends 187 days. That's the end. But the 7 days was another thing. Yes, Malti?
Was the 7 days inside this 108 days? Was it connecting after?
It seems to be after. It seems to be right afterwards.
Right afterwards.
Yeah, right after. That's what, if you read here, okay, we're going to read verse 5. Right? At the end of these 180 days, עשה המלך לכל העם הנמצאים בשושן הבירה, למגדול ועד קטון, משתה 7 ימים בחצר גינת ביתן המלך. The king does another party, and this party is not for the leaders of the other countries. These are for העם הנמצאים בשושן הבירה. I'm going to say something now. It's very important to remember throughout the Megillah. There are two parts to the city of Shushan. Very interesting when you read it. There's Ha'ir Shushan, like after Haman's Gzerah, right? It says Va'ir Shushan Navocha, and there's Shushan Abira. What is it? It's like the Washington, D.C. There is the place where all the government things, and then there's the city. Where do you live? I live in Washington, D.C. You don't live in the place where all the governments are. You live in, where the people live. Yeah. But there are two parts. There's the government area, and there are people. Shushan Habira, the capital Shushan, that is where the government sits. Okay? That is where all the immense amount of people you need to run an empire. That's 127, it's thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of people probably. Okay, we're talking about people to run an empire. They're the people who write the laws. They're the people, everything you need. He's in charge of garbage in Medina 120. The amount of people you need to run an empire is mind-boggling. They live in Shushan Abira. There are a lot of them. And then there are a lot of people who live in the Yer Shushan, okay? There's probably better transportation, they're the big city, they live in the big city. but they're not part of the government. So in this party, he doesn't invite everyone from Shushan. Don't make that mistake. He invites, again, all the parts of his government, everyone. Lemigadol v'ad katon. From the greatest to the smallest, from the guy who's in charge of the taxes to the guy who's in charge of the garbage, from everyone, whatever, everyone in the political apparatus, they're all there. So he brings them benosaf. Okay, we had all the Sarei Medinot who they're there for 180 days. Again, they're not there 180 days in my shita. They come over time. So they're coming. First guy comes after 10 days and he stays. The other guy stays. Again, there are a lot of them and they're there for a long time. But it's again, Achashverosh is just waiting for everyone to be there. This is like the point. How do I have everyone there? And again, it's building up our anticipation. What do you want to do with them? What's the point? So we said one point is to threaten and pull them in, and the other thing is what else? Is that all there is? Why are you keeping them there? What's the point of them being there for so long? That we're going to see in this lesson in a minute. But now let's take a look. Okay, let's continue and see the ti'ur. In other words, there's a description here of the party which seems to be very, very overdone. Let's take a look at verses 6 to 8. Okay. Perek Aleph. We're in Perek Aleph. We're in the first chapter. Okay? Now they start explaining this party. Now the party here, if it's only the 7 or for the whole 180, I'm not sure. But let's go on. Chur Charpas Utchelet Achuz Bechavlei Vutzvar Gaman Aglilei Kesef Amudei Shesh. You guys could read the English as I read verse 6. I just love the Hebrew. I just love the Megillah. So I just reading the words. I could do it with the ta'amim, which is even better. Mitot zahav kesef al ritzpat bat vashesh vedar v'socharet. Not now. We'll do it as we go on. Okay. So they're talking about grandiose riches here. It's like, whoa, over the top completely. Everything is made out of the finest silver, the finest marble, the most amazing satin. Everything is unbelievable. Vashkot bichlei zahav. V'chelim mikelim shonim. V'yen malchut rav keyad hamelech. They have everything they're drinking is gold and silver. No glass. No, whatever. No chad pami. Right? The prices went up. No chad pami. Gold and silver. Yes.
We do where it took you because we have Jewish gold.
Yeah, I see. Baruch Hashem. Look, it's gold now. It's chad pami is gold now. Yeah.
Okay, so is it possible that for like the meal and everything, the 180 days was for like the officers and everything, and like showing them like don't try to rebel. I have this, and then the 7 days were for the Jews, and like hey, you guys say you want your Beit Mikdash back? Well, here's the thing.
No, not now. Wait for that. Okay, we're going to go back. We're going to recount this perek again. We're going to go back with Chazal's view of where the Jews are in here. That's going to be next lesson. Yeah.
So aside from my anecdotal joke that I made that was kind of stupid, I noticed at the beginning of Pasuk Vav, the chet in Chur
is large. Right.
Okay.
It's a great point. So this is another little point. What do you do? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. It's a good question. That is just like we did the Korean chtiv in the other one. Remember when we said how you read it? If you read Memuchan, you brought it. You said it. You're into the textual thing. You asked about Memuchan. Oh, her said about Memuchan. Okay, sorry, Hirsch. The said there. Right. In other words, seeing the textual differences. Right. You picked up the Memuchan that has a Korean chtiv, that you read it one way and it's written another way. So here also, it's great, Moshe. This you're right. It's an interesting. I don't know, and I'm not going to go into it, but it's a good question. The chet is large, and it definitely demands a question why. But I don't have an answer. And
here the commentary is chet is 8, and that Achashverosh put on the 8 garments of the Kohen Gadol.
Great, Yafe. Okay. Even though I don't remember seeing that in the Gemara, I don't know where he gets that one from. What is that? Manos Halevi. Okay, that's a much later pirush. Beseder, yafe. Okay, come on, let's go on. V'ashkot b'chlei zahav v'kelim mikenush v'yen malchut rav ki adam melech le'etz. Unlimited amounts of wine. Now, this next pasuk is very important. V'ashtiya kadat enones ki chen yisad hamelech al kol rav beito lasot kirtzon ish ve'ish. Who's going to translate me these words? The drinking is.
Oh, the drinking was as customary. And without constraint, for so did the king establish...
Without constraint, it says?
Without constraint, yes.
Interesting, okay.
For so did the king establish for all the officials of his palace to act in accordance with the wishes of each and every man.
Right, so ones...
I have an easier one.
Go ahead.
And the drinking was according to the law, without coercion. For so the king had ordered all the officers of his house that they should do according to every man's pleasure.
I'm going to go with that. Okay, I'm sorry to Rav Steinsaltz here. I'm going to go with this. Now each one here is a different kivun. Okay, it's a different kivun. It's a different direction. We're going to go with this. The drinking in this place was, they didn't coerce. And then you go, what do you mean you didn't coerce? When do you coerce? And I want to read you guys a midrash. The pages are somewhere around here. I tried to save them, but I don't know where they went. Let me read you a midrash from the Yalkut Shimoni. Says Rabbi Levi, and then I'm going to give a deeper meaning, what it means and what they're trying to do here as opposed. He goes like this.
David's finding this.
Okay, great. So this is like towards the end of the page. Amar Rabbi Levi, says Rabbi Levi, this was the minhag. This is what they did, the Persian kings, or the people of Persia. Hayalem kos gadol. They had a huge cup. Machzik arba shimtziut. A large amount. I don't know how much a shimtziut. Vunikra puska. That's what it was called, this cup, the puska. Vayu mashkim bo lekol echad ve'echad, afilu met. Afilu mishtagea. They would make them drink even if he dies, even if he goes crazy. They would make them drink the whole cup.
Where was this?
What?
They were party animals.
This is the Persian minhag. Say that? And then he says he ends up and he says "Aval Achashverosh lo ichnis oto akos besudato." He didn't bring this cup into this great party. Amar mishu rotze lishtot tishteh. Lachen ne'emar hashtiya kadat en ones. There's no coercion. The coercion was something known. In other words, the Megillah is hinting to this place. But what does that mean? What does that mean? And I want to bring this now all together into what's happening here at the party. In an empire, the usual minhag of the empire would be to say, I tell you what to do. Mm-hmm. I make you do whatever it is, even if you go crazy and even if you die. I will feed you. I will make you drink what I made, my wine. You will drink my wine. I don't care what happens to you. You are completely and totally under my control. Mm-hmm. You're mine. This is what the Midrash is talking about. And this is exactly what Achashverosh doesn't do in his party. As opposed to the usual play of power, which would be to coerce whoever it is that comes into the circle of the empire, of the emperor. That would be how he would show his power. Achashverosh takes a step back. He says, you know that big cup? That's not coming into this. What is happening here? Whatever you want. You want this wine? That's fine. You want to drink a little? You could drink a little. You want to drink a lot? You could drink a lot. This wine. That's what the midrash goes on. Everyone could take wine from wherever he wanted, from his own state. Whatever you want. You choose. Now I want to say something about choice. Choice and power. In a sense, power and choice don't go together. In other words, if I let you choose, then I don't have the power. The minute I let you choose, I lose power. That's a basic assumption of many people, and in a sense it's true, right? As a child, I mean, as a father, this is like the basic, father, mother, parents, this is the basic thing. How much you let your child choose, try things by himself, how much you let him go, right? And obviously we say, of course you have to let him go so he can grow on one hand. On the other hand, you relinquish control. And you may think my control is more important. I know what, I'm older, I know it's a game. It's a game, and everyone in any setting, anyone who is in charge of anything, who is ever, I'm sure you've been in charge of things in your lives, it is a power play. How much do I let the people under me do their own thing? And how much do I not let them do their own thing? How much can they be creative? How much, and nowadays it's like these are the buzzwords, right? Let them be, let them think, creatives, work at home, work here, whatever it is, let them do whatever they want. This is all new ideas, okay? It did not used to be that way. Usually, where's the one place that we never say something like this, sort of, except in Israel? In the army. In the army, you turn your brain off, you do exactly what I tell you. Most armies, Israel is very unique and different in that. in that they try to make you think, which is part of why Israel's army is one of the most amazing armies in the world.
Because everyone's thinking of how to stop an enemy that's 1,000 to 1 to them.
Well, you're just thinking. You're just thinking. The creativity isn't completely stamped out. It's stamped out a little bit, but not completely stamped out. In other armies, people have told me. I have a student who works with. He's in charge, really, of bringing foreign armies here to Israel, and he does like the war games. He's like in charge of them when they come from around the world. They come here to a specific base. That didn't tell me. And joint military training. He says this is almost always the difference. Okay. There, people go by the book. What they tell them to do, they do. And there's no creativity. And the pilots are known for this, but the rest of the soldiers, they think. And when you get into suddenly a situation and your commander falls, he's dead. Oh, the first in command, second in command, fourth in command, they're all dead. What do you do? I don't know. In Israel, they train the person to think a little bit. So now you're in charge. You're the fifth in command. Now you're in charge. What? But I have to in charge all? Yeah, you're in charge now. Go. So what do you do? How do you arrange your rule, your control? Which way do you go? And we just said Achashverosh here in this guy. What is he doing here? He's showing them, right? He wants the American Shita in that sense. He wants them coming and wanting to be part of it. So he's very smart. And he says, I'm leaving the big cup at home. The big cup stays out of the party. You can choose. We can. You mean we could actually choose here in the meeting? We have a say. We exist. Wow. I really want to be part of this now. Not just because it's amazing and so powerful that I just understand that I have to be part of it. It's a coercion that has place for personal nochechut. I don't know, being there. You're there. We didn't erase you. Now it's a little thing. He just lets them drink, right? He doesn't say you can make decisions. He doesn't say now you're in charge. No. He just lets. But sometimes it's all someone needs to feel that he's free in a sense, to feel that there's worth to his life. Achashverosh in this sense is a genius in making this party the epitome of bringing people together. I have a place. I am here. I'm not erased by the vastness and the richness. I'm here. I drink. The Malbim says something beautiful. The Malbim says, usually in a party, when you're finished drinking, they take your cup and they give it to someone else. Here, everyone had their own personal cup. They didn't take their cups away. That was unique here. Oh, it's mine. It's actually my cup. It's your cup. You don't have to worry that someone's going to take it. So it's the same idea of this big cup, right? No one's coercing you. You are part of this. I always say, as a parent, right? I say, okay, it's time for a bath. It happened a couple hours ago. It's time for a bath, right? No, I don't want to take a bath. Okay, you can go up yourself or I can carry you. What do you choose? Just that statement. That you gave the child a choice. It changes the whole thing. Oh, okay, Abba, take me. Or I'll go it myself. Whatever. But suddenly, the hitnagdut, the opposition, it goes down. I'm being seen. It's a tip in parenting, okay? But I'm seen. Oh, wow, I'm here. I'm not being coerced, the gamma. I'm going to have to take a bath. Okay, I understand there's a coercion. I don't really have a choice. And when that hits you, you go, ah! But when you have a choice, suddenly it's not as bitter as it seemed before. It's not as horrible as it seemed before. This is what Achashverosh does. He brings them in. Yeah.
It's like, I know in behavioral science, there's this concept of, like, let's say you have a Coca-Cola machine up against the wall that'll have a certain number of sales. You have a Coca-Cola machine and a Pepsi machine right next to each other. You would think each one would have half the sales, but no. It's the Coca-Cola machine doubles in sales, and the Pepsi machine has roughly the same as that. Because the question doesn't become, do I want a Coke or not? It becomes, do I want a Coke or a Pepsi?
Yeah. In other words, I have a choice. In other words, I have to get whatever is here. I can choose what, and that the choice, it brings you up, and it really does. It really does. I mean, this is Hashem giving us chayim v'ma'avet, right? Life and death, and you will choose life, but you'll choose. It's very important in basic Yahadut. we'll see also in Purim, the story of Purim, of re-accepting the Torah because it didn't work in our Sinai. We've mentioned it already. We'll get to it again many times as we go on. But this idea of allowing the people to be part is all a ploy of Achashverosh, how to keep control. It's a choice. Achashverosh chooses how to keep control. There are other ways to do it. We'll meet them later. But this is his choice of how he's going to cause the people to stay loyal to him. Okay? So this is what's happening at the party. He's bringing them in. He's reeling them in. They're all like, yeah, I am an Achashverosh guy. I am, whoa, we're in. We're here. We're here. We're this. But now Achashverosh gets to the high point of the party. This is there's a great word, I can't pronounce it. It's
Penultimate. Pinnacle.
No, I was talking about penultimate.
Penultimate is one before last. I think pinnacle's right.
Okay. All right.
Climax.
Whatever it is, we're getting to the top of the party. The point of the party is here. And here suddenly, after 8 psukim of a very manly party, suddenly we're like, wait, where are the girls? Hey, where are the girls? Right at a party, where are the girls? Well, the girls aren't there. Which lead Chazal to say that the Persians have tzniut. The Persians have an amount of tzniut. We see Achashverosh and women we'll see very soon that it's not so pashut. But it says that this party, they were not there. This party was not an orgy. This is what someone asked on yesterday, right? It's not an orgy. Don't make a mistake. This is a political party. They were sitting there talking politics. It was not, as someone here said, it was not, just like, let's have a party. No. Everything in the Megillah goes through mishteh. We saw it in Nehemiah. Remember that he was privy to all the mishtim. The sarat, right? The sarat mashkim is an important political position because everything happens around mishtim. There are 10 mishtim. There are 10 mishtim. There are 10 parties in the Megillah. Everything important that happens at a mishteh. That's just the way it was done. It's like the coffee in the White House. I don't know what they drink in the White House. Whatever they drink in the White House, that's what it is. You don't sit without a mishteh. The mishteh is an important political position. This is what's happening 108 days. It's not what we learned in Gan, what we learned in kindergarten, that this crazy party. No.
It's a diplomatic meeting.
It's a diplomatic meeting where the diplomats are awed. Cowed. How do you pronounce the word? Cowed?
Coward. What was the context?
They're scared. They're scared.
Coward.
That's how you say it?
Yeah. Coward.
Yeah, coward.
But it's not like a coward, like you're a coward. You could call someone a coward.
Yeah, you call someone a coward, you mean that...
No, but when
strong.
you're... there's no code...
Oh, cowering is a verb.
It's a coward.
What if we don't...
Coward.
To coward.
You guys have to... we'll have ulpan in English another time. Let's So, one second. So... the coward. So they're coward. They're awed, but they're also... They're there. And now suddenly, where are the women? The women are there, and apparently the women came, the wives came. The wives came with some of the statesmen. In other words, here we see, let's go on. Gam vashti malka sta mishte nashim bet malchut asher lamelech Achashverosh. 1 minute, before we go on, I have to read one more chazal, which is really, really important for ours. Look on your page, okay? Right before we get to Vashti, because it's just important. The second one in Hebrew, okay? Ubimilot hayamim ha'ele, right? Asa melech mishte. This is on verse 5. This is the second source in the Hebrew. It says Talmud Bavli Masechet Megillah Daf Yudbet Ubimilot hayamim. Right. Ubimilot hayamim ha'ele. That's pasuk Hey. Rav Shmuel. Chad amar melech pikeach haya. Chad amar melech tipesh haya. Very important. 2 of the greatest Amoraim of Bavel. One says Achashverosh was a smart king. One says he was a stupid king.
I remember having a discussion about this.
This is amazing.
When I was in 8th grade.
It's amazing, right?
Was Achashverosh smart or dumb?
Good. So you had this.
And someone's like, he controls 127 provinces. If he's dumb, do you think he'll actually have that?
Good. Okay, 1 second. So what is? So 1 second. It is. They're gonna. But it's not only on a small part. They're about to explain it. They're about to explain.
Literally.
1 second. Ezra, 1 second. You're right. No, but you're right. And then what Ezra brought out is correct. We'll just touch on it in a second. Was he a smart king or a dumb king? or a stupid tipesh. Tipesh is stupid. He was a stupid king. Okay, and
He's dumb.
one second. And it's interesting. These are the greatest Amoraim, right? I mean, and you're reading the Megillat Esther. Well, how could you have that question? Is he wise or not? It will change the whole Megillah if you read it one way or the other way, right? Is it he's just a stupid drunk king doing crazy things, or the guy's very smart? It's a whole. Really, you could divide the Megillah up in this way. Was Achashverosh wise? Was he silly? But I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say there really is not a machloket here.
He was both.
He was both.
Yeah.
We're going to see what they mean, how you could be both wise and stupid at the same time. Yeah.
Okay, are you talking about like, I guess in modern science, there's this thing that we call rich kid syndrome, where if you have someone who grows up in a very wealthy home, very sheltered, even if they may be a very intelligent person, they do and say stupid things because they don't have experience.
Okay, so I'm going to go in that way, Moshe, but not in a different way. You know, he's going to be very intelligent, but he's going to have a fault. That this fault, when we point it out and we find it, we'll see how even a great man, like an emperor of 127 countries, can be no more than a child when he's not in control of part of his personality. We're going to see this. This is Achashverosh. We're going to see in a second. But one, as Arya said, we can't stop here. How do they know if he was a melech tipesh or melech? The Midrash goes on. Manda Amar melech pikeach. He who says he was a wise man. Shafir avad. He did a good job. The kariv rachika bareisha. He first brought the people who are far away, the 127 countries first. Divnei mate kol emet dabai mefayestei. Because the people of his city, whenever he wants to, he can placate them. Thank you. He can placate them. Okay. Okay. He can placate them. The Shita, whoever it is, Rav or Shmuel, the one who said, he says he was a wise man. First, you better deal with all the people who live way out there, who don't know you, who aren't sure about you. Bring them in first, and then the people in your city. The people in your city, you can always take care of them.
There's also the fact that if you bring them in first, they're going to get bored waiting for everyone else. They're just going to leave.
The people who live right there. Okay, good. Another shita. The other one says, Man damar tipesh haya. One who says tipesh. It's the same thing. First, you have to bring the people of your own city. Because... One second, I'm just going to finish this up. Okay? You should first bring the people of the city. First, you bring them. Because if the people in the far provinces revolt, then at least you have the ones around you who will be part of you because you brought them close. Whatever it is, either way, and I'm not going to go into this so much. First of all, it's political thinking. Just think, both of these midrashim are relating to Achashverosh. Was he wise or not? Not if he was a drunk, crazy Michiganer. It's, was he thinking wisely politically? Think of Rav and Shmuel are already on the wavelength of the Perek Aleph is talking about Achashverosh's rule. And was he ruling correctly or incorrectly? Okay? I want to say though, again, we'll see how stupid he is as we go on. Yes, Malti.
When so many people from so many different countries going in and out from the city, the people will realize this. It's also a part of showing power.
For sure, the people who live there will see the right coming in from all over.
What poor men go in and out? The leaders of the countries, of the 127 countries, going in and out it's also showing power to his own.
So you're sort of more in the wise way. In other words, when you see all these people coming in, like, whoa, look at them, and look at them. They're also coming. They're paying homage. They're playing. Whoa. Nachon. Okay. Yafe.
Rabbi,
yes.
That was just like tachposim. Maybe it's a costume.
What's a costume?
He made himself seem stupid. He's actually very smart.
I don't think he makes himself seem stupid right now either. But we're going to meet where his stupid in a second. We're going to meet his stupidity in a second. Okay. Tov.
I actually read somewhere that Achashverosh might have gotten himself drunk on purpose just to go kill Vashti.
Well, we'll see. We'll see this in a minute. Okay. Gam Vashti Malka asta mishte nashim bet malchut asher lamelech Achashverosh. There is the house of kingship, also Vashti. Suddenly, this is the first time we meet her, right? There's Vashti Malka. Who is Vashti Malka?
She's the descendant of the king, no?
We heard that the other day, but what's the source?
We'll see it. It's on your page in a second. You'll see it.
She's heiress to the Babylonian
We'll see it.
We heard the other
Yeah,
day.
you'll see it right here. You'll see it right here. It's the end of the source. It's right here. Okay, but let's go on. Okay, who is this Vashti? She's the queen, very clearly the king, Vashti Malka, and she's doing a party. And now we get to Pasuk Yud. Bayom Hashvi'i, the seventh day. Malti mentioned the seventh. How do they have seventh? The Bayom Hashvi'i. Ketov lev hamelech beyain. Now, ketov lev hamelech beyain. When the king's heart is good with wine, does that mean he's drunk? They know how to say drunk. Tov lev hamelech beyain. I don't think he was drunk. He is now afuch. Sometimes when we drink, we're expansive. You feel right. Why do people drink? Well, you run away. Sometimes you're drowning in your drink, but sometimes you drink to feel powerful.
Macho.
Well, it's macho, but also really to feel your power. Your inhibitions go off, and the inhibitions are what hold you back. Tov lev hamelech beyain, I'd like to say here, is not a derogatory statement. They know the Gemara could say the Tanakh knows how to say a derog. He was drunk as lot. He was out. Tov lev hamelech beyain. He is now at his prime. He is the best situation he could be. He is the top of the game. The wine helped. Up until now, by the way, he may not have been drunk at all. He may not have had to drink at all. He's in the Mishneh. The classic little, he has a little shot. But now he's ready.
It's loosened up.
The seventh day, he says like this: Amar lemehuman, bista, charvona, bikta, avagta, zeitar, karkas. 7 shiv'at asarisim, the 7 eunuchs, hameshartim et pnei hamelech Hashverosh, the most important ones. He sends, these are his personal servants. Okay? These are his, you have to understand. These aren't there. He has hundreds and thousands of servants. He takes his personal servants, they're important people. And he sends them, Lavi et Vashti hamalka lifnei hamelech beketer malchut. He wants them to bring her with the crown. Beketer malchut. Okay? Why does he want to bring her? Listen to this, and this is the most important part of the pasuk. Lar'ot ha'amim v'asarim et yofya, ki tovat mar'eh hi. To show all the nations how beautiful his wife is. How beautiful his wife is. Because she's really beautiful. V'tima'en hamalka Vashti. Vashti doesn't come.
But she wanted to come. She really
And she doesn't come. 1 second. Vayiksof hamelech me'od v'chamato ba'ara bo. The king gets really angry, and his anger burns him up. I'm telling you now, this is the harshest use of anger in the whole Megillah. Nowhere will the king get so angry, even though later, when at the very end, right, when Esther tells about Haman, he gets up. He gets angry. This is one chamato. But here we have Vayiksof hamelech me'od. He gets very angry. V'chamato ba'ara bo, and his anger burned him up. Nowhere in the whole Megillah do we see the anger as this anger. Something here makes him explode. What happened? He didn't come. בסדר. בסדר. מה קרה? תירגע, calm down. בסדר, the king didn't come. בסדר, okay, נכון, it's not nice, it's a little embarrassing. No, not only is this going to happen, what's going to happen, Miyad? I'm going to go back to this in a second to understand. But Yomer HaMelech, now, the Melech has to deal with a problem here. I mean, okay, the queen didn't come. Okay, solve it. Go, have an evening, go out to eat, talk it over. No, look what happens here. Pasuk 13. Vayomer melech lachachamim yodei ha'itim. We're going to see again them. The wise men, the ones who know the times. We're going to see what times mean. Ki ken dvar hamelech lifnei kol yodei dat v'din. This is important pasuk for later. The king always had advisors around him. When every big thing that happens, he has advice from all the people who know dat v'din. Dat are the customs, din are the laws. He really has good advisors who know how people work and what the law is. Ve'akarov elav. And he brings to the closest ones to him, Karshana, Shetar, Admatar, Tarshish, Meretz, Marsana, Memuchan, Shivat, Sarei, Paras, Umadai, Ro'e, Pnei HaMelech, Hayoshvim, Rishona, B'Malchut. He brings the most important ministers in his realm, the seven. It was called the Kabinet Medini Bitchoni. And in Israel, there's like the Rosh Memshala, the Prime Minister, and the Foreign Minister, and the Defense Minister, and the Kalkala, the Finance Minister. They're like they're the most important ministers. There's something where only they sit and think. These are the Sheva. These are the most important. He brings them all. These are like when you bring these people together when there's war. You bring these people together when you're making something that's going to change the whole kingdom. What is he bringing them for? Kedat malasot b'malka vashti. What to do with the queen? Because she didn't do what Achashverosh told her. The queen didn't. You don't have to bring in the most important ministers of your whole realm because the queen didn't come. What is going on
I
here?
beg to differ.
Good.
Especially after you read what
Good.
the advisor tells them to do and the reasoning behind it. When you come to realize that the women that are at Vashti's party are the most powerful women in the empire, if she sends a message to them saying, "I'm not going to do what the most powerful man on the planet at this point, right, largest empire in the world says," then what do you think they're going to do?
Good.
Which completely backs up the advisor's concerns, and it completely justifies what Achashverosh.
Me'uleh. Shua, let's continue what she was saying. Let's bring it back a little. Why didn't she come?
But sorry, how do we know it's common
Because
knowledge?
she
at
got
this
ugly.
point?
What?
It's common knowledge at this point that she refuses.
Well, he called her. Right? We don't know. He called her and she didn't come. He goes bananas, right? I mean, he goes bananas.
Clearly something.
And he brings the ministers. In other words, something's happening now. Ariel, what Ariel is saying is important. It's important because we're always going to ask throughout the Megillah, who knows what, right? Who knows what's going on in any sense, right? It goes. We know because send out messengers, right? With all the things, with like Zerot, the messengers go out, and then people know. How does anyone know anything is really important in the Megillah? Okay, we don't know who knows everything. We don't know in this case who knows everything, and it's going to be important to see the next stage. No one really knows exactly what's going on. But I'm going to ask now in our story, why didn't she come? Why didn't she come?
Well, from the reading or from the Chazal?
Connect them.
The reading, it doesn't say. It just says she disobeyed. The Chazal says she wanted to come, and
Yeah. Leave that Chazal out. No. Let's look a second here at this Chazal that Ariel asked before, the bottom of your page. Okay?
There's another Chazal. She was Nebuchadnezzar.
Good. Let's see that one. Let's go that way. The last two sources in Hebrew on your page. Rabbiyonatan patach lapitcha lehai parshat hamihacha. When Rabbiyonatan would learn, it's a fascinating Masechet Megillah has a whole list of Amoraim which say when they would start teaching Megillah, like we're doing now, when they would start teaching it, they would start from this pasuk, and they bring a pasuk, and then they sort of connect it to the story, and then they would go ahead and teach. Many of them start from different directions. Fascinating. But let's see here. So this is Rabbiyonatan. He would say, "V'kamti alem v'ichrati lebavel shem v'she'er v'nin v'neched neum Hashem." I believe this is the pasuk in Yirmiyahu. I don't remember. I'm sorry. And now he says, "I will come about them, and I will cut off from Babylon a name, a relative, a great grandson and a grandson." Okay. Now he's Doresh. He gives a drush on each of these words. Shem is the ktav. We're going to erase the Babylonian writing. She'er ze lashon. That's a language. We're going to erase the language. Nin ze malchut. The great grandson is the rule. V'neched zo vashti. Neched zo vashti. Vashti is the neched, the nechda, I would say, we'd have to say in this sense. But and now go on, get another one, right near there. Another drasha. Tachat asarpad yaleh hadas. Pasuk in Yeshayahu. We read it in the Haftarah on Ta'anit Tzibur. Tachat asirpad, tachat vashti haresha'a, bat beno shel Nebuchadnezzar harasha, who did whatever he did. Yaleh hadas, zo Esther hatzadeket. Vashti Harisha bat beno shel Nebuchadnezzar. She is the granddaughter, in this case, of Nebuchadnezzar. So we have two drashot here in the Gemara that see Vashti as a heir to the Babylonian throne.
Right.
Let's
The
go
reason
back.
she refused-
Let's go 1 second. Let's just go back to the olden days. We know that empires were almost always forged through marriage. We know this throughout Europe, and not only Europe, in the Far East also. When you want to forge an empire, the best and most sure way to do it is to marry into the other country in some way. Shlomo HaMelech, it says, Hitchaten beParo. He marries Paro. Who did he marry? Paro's daughter. Bat Paro. It says in other ways, he marries Bat Paro. We know he married Bat Paro, but sometimes it says he married Paro because it was the same thing. You're marrying the daughter to marry the ruler.
Like what Victoria did.
Like what Victoria did, what Elizabeth did, what not Elizabeth in Spain, Ferdinand and Isabella, right? These are you consolidate power. This is what the Malbim said. If you guys remember what we read last time, right? There are two ways to rule. There's a way to rule through inheritance, and there's a way to rule through your own power. This is where Achashverosh is meeting. This is the constellation he's in. Achashverosh, as opposed to the picture we've seen for the first eight psukim, suddenly we see he does not rule this empire by himself. There is a very powerful woman who has her own power, her own strength, her own lineage, and her own followers, which is more important for our purposes. It's not a chassidut. She has people. She is a powerful lady in her own right. Achashverosh married her. Now they consolidate the empire. But there are two sources of power in this government, in this empire. There is the king and there is the queen. And they're not synonymous. This isn't Ivanka Trump, okay? This isn't the pretty lady who I love to have the picture with and everyone goes, ooh, ah. This is not what we're talking about. This is a lady who is a serious political player. She has serious political power. She came from Nebuchadnezzar. Paras conquered Bavel. They're right after Bavel. In other words, they're still in the game. They haven't been wiped off the map yet. They're still there. Bavel is a powerful state. It may be even the most powerful state of all the 127. It's number 2. Persia, Bavel, Madai, these are the powers that be. Vashti they married to seize power. But now they rule together. Yeah.
When you say Babel, it's Babylonian.
Right.
Okay.
What is Achashverosh doing at this party? Achashverosh has built this whole party up to show his power. And at the pinnacle of this party, he says, come look at my pretty wife. Not my powerful wife. Not my partner in rule.
Well, the granddaughter.
Come look at this pretty wife I have. Look at this ornament.
So
This piece, ornament, or
Yeah.
this piece that shows me in a better light.
wife.
My trophy wife. Come look at her. And Vashti says, over my dead body, you can't relate to me like this. You can't deal with me. I have power. And the king's plan, 180 days, 7 other days to show he is in control. Boom.
Closed.
Boom. The whole thing explodes. And therefore, as Shua said, this is an international crisis.
This is the prevention of war.
This is a super crisis on the highest levels of the realm. I have to bring in the greatest advisors. I have to bring the closest people to me. I have to bring in all the legal advisors and the culture. We have a code red international. This is a rebellion. We are on the verge of a split of the empire that I just spent 3.5 years putting together. This is what's happening here. This is Vashti. This is why this event is super important in the kingdom.
Wow.
This is what's going on. Okay? This is what's happening here. This is why everyone is... What?
You had a party over a half
Where we said what it's for. Remember, the half a year is to consolidate, to bring everyone in. And everyone's there when this happens. Now,
And Vashi's like,
what
"Yeah,
do they
I'm
know? What do they know? And this is where Memuchan comes in his full genius.
It's like, killer.
No, that's not what he does. It's a mistake. Memuchan comes. Now, Memuchan's one of the seven. He's the seventh of the close advisors, right? The ministers.
What'll happen if he doesn't do something?
Wait, no, one second. He comes and he says, "Okay, everyone, calm down." And he asked the first question you guys asked. Who knows what happened here? We don't know. The damage has not yet seeped out. The people know something happened. The king went bananas, right? He went bananas. They probably saw that. He was really angry. Something happened. Everyone knows something happened. But what happened, says Memuchan? We're going to tell people what happened. We're going to change the script. It's called a spin. It's called a spin. It works in politics now all the time. It's called a spin. And you take really smart people, and what they do, a spin is to take something and turn it. You say, this is what really happened. We're going to present it this way. And when we present it this way, it's going to be something else. And no one else will, and no one knows. And they won't know what happened. This is what he's going to do. He's going to flip it. Okay, this is what Mechael is about to do. He's going to flip it. You're going to hear how he flips it, how he changes it. But I want to give what my perush, I've never seen this anywhere, of what Yodei Ha'itim means. You remember it said in the beginning, Ki ken dvar HaMelech lifnei Yodei Ha'itim. Vayomer HaMelech lechachamim Yodei Ha'itim. The ones who know the times. So someone said an astrologer. It could be the Pshat astrologer, but I want to say something else.
He knows the Itonim.
Yeah, good. The Itonim, I like that. It's a good perush. But yes, that's what I'm saying. Iton comes from
The New
time.
York Times.
Times. They know the right times and the right feel of when to say what. Yeah. These are Yodei Ha'itim. They are the political masterminds. The king had many advisors who were political masterminds, who knew when you don't say it, when you do say this, when you do present this, when you don't say that, when you go out, when you don't go out.
Press secretary.
Press secretary. These are Yodei Ha'itim. These are the people he brought. They're not the ministers. The ministers are a higher level. But the first people he brings in, the wise people, they're the political advisors, because they know how to get out of these scrapes. They know how to deal with events that could be catastrophic for the empire. But just to go back again, Achashverosh, what do we see about Achashverosh here? And this is important.
For a new queen, and everyone is asking why Vashti.
You will see. You'll see. We will get there. 1 second. No, 1 second. The king now, when we saw the anger. Who gets anger? When do we get angry? Any of us. When do we get angry? When things don't. When I'm hungry. That's what. When things don't. When things don't go. When someone doesn't do what I want them to do, right? I wanted something, and they don't do what I wanted to do. It didn't happen like I wanted to do.
Also, when the Cowboys lose.
When I lose control, Rabotai, listen to what I'm saying here.
Gonna get you.
Listen. When I lose control, I get angry. And when the more in control I need to be, the angrier I will get. That's where anger comes from. It's pretty much the basis of anger. Anger comes from the need to be in control. Achashverosh is the grandfather of control. This is who he is, complete domination and control. This is what leads him to become an emperor. This is what leads him to spend his life trying to be there, trying to be in control of the most he can be. Right? As we said, Chazal said he read the whole world. Kol ha'olam, he ruled. the thirst, the power that comes with this is Achashverosh. This is his need. It's not even under control, his need for control. And anyone who will understand this, and this is really the key to the whole Megillah, anyone who understands that the king is a wise, great ruler, but has this fault, this weakness, that he needs to be in control. If you understand that, you rule the king.
And he understands that.
He won't understand that.
No,
Yeah. So one second. Well, we're going to see a lot of people are going to understand this in the Megillah. B'miuchad Mordechai is going to understand it, and Haman. Those are the two who are going to play the king. They're going to play against each
Haman
other
and Esther.
over the king, because the king, in this sense, becomes a tool of unlimited power. But he could be in people's hands. And this we see, this is why Perek Aleph is so important. This is really why Perek Aleph is so important. The king, no, he doesn't. You're going to see he doesn't need money. Money is nothing for him. He needs rule. No. And he says, forget it. And he says, forget it. He says, says Meforash. He says, I don't need the money. Do whatever you want. I need the rule. This is exactly, we'll see. Okay, when we get there, but we're going ahead of ourselves. He needs the rule. This is what he needs, control. The power he feels when people bow down to him. The power he feels when people are part of his rule, his empire. This is his drink. This is his drug. This is what makes him live. And when the queen says no,
sends him overboard.
and it's not, if it was just a little person who said no, that would be nothing. Yeah, kill him, don't kill him, doesn't matter. But this is a direct challenge from the second most powerful person in the whole realm.
And she obviously sees what he's done the last 180
She knows exactly what he's doing. If he would have said, that's why I said verse Yud Aleph is so important. When it says when he wants to show them how pretty she is. Why does it say that? Why does he just brought the queen? Because it's important why he brought the queen. It's not, she didn't not come because he's bringing the queen. She's not coming because why she's bringing the queen. That she says, no, I will not come for that. And now the king is in a crisis. The father of all crises is here. And Memuchan, he brings Memuchan. Memuchan comes and says, Rabotai, people, we're going to spin this. Yeah. We're going to give a different take on what happened here. And what is it? And we're going to look how wise he is.
Our wife Vashti that just saw this happen too.
What's it? She's now in her place. I don't know. She may have her soldiers around her. We don't know what's going on there. There may be maneuvering already. There are letters being sent out. We don't know what's going on. But it has to happen quick. Whatever happens, he brings everyone in right now. Everyone else is, out of the party, like, where'd the king go? What's going on? But he closes them up, locks the door, sits there with the 7 heads and all the political advisors, and he goes, guys, what do we do? What do we do? This is what you have to sit, like sitting here at this table, like, guys, what do we, it's a war room. What do we do? What do we do? And we do it now, we do it fast. Give me your best shot. What do we do, guys? They understand. Everyone sitting there understands exactly what's going on. They understand. His cronies, his people, they know what's going on. They understand the danger they're in right now. The whole kingdom, the whole empire is in danger. What do we do? Let's read, let's continue. Verse 16, Ted Zayin.
Quickly, before we continue, this is not an expired thing. This happens to this very day.
Of course.
Leadership is determined by how a leader and his ministers mitigate the crisis.
100%. This is how we read the Torah. This is how we read the Torah. Every part of the Torah is relevant. I mean, this is just easier to see, but for correct, I believe. Shmuel, this is mamash. This is how things work. Why is this important for us? Again, we always have to keep that question in the back. This is not a book to tell us what happened in politics then or now. This is not the point of the book. The point of the book is going to come later. But we have to understand the backdrop to what the Megillah is happening. Okay, this is important. You have to understand Achashverosh and the kingdom to understand what's going on. Okay, that's why it's so important for us. But you're right that it's like this is it. This is how things work. So the Memuchan says this. Okay, again, he's talking to the group. Lo ala melech levado avta Vashti Malka. She didn't just go against the king. Ki al kol hasarim ve'al kol ha'amim asher bechol medinot hamelech. She is attempting to undermine all the nobles and all the nations that are everywhere. Now, when I always say, after he said this, they're like looking at him blankly. They're like, huh? No, she's going against the king. And he goes, no, listen to what I'm saying. Not only against the king. We are rewriting what happened here. The narrative. We are spinning it. We're rewriting. And then they go, oh, okay, go on. Go on. There's like a shock at that first thing. They're like, what are you talking about? Let me explain. Go on. Let me show a better story. And let's show you how you get out of this, Achashverosh. Because it's very clear that against the queen, to go straight and fight against the queen now is war. Taking apart everything Achashverosh did for the past 3.5 years. Everything will be shot. We're going to have to be much smarter than that. What do we do? Ki yetzeh dvar hamalka al kol hanashim lavzot ba'alehem beinehem. The queen's world will go out to lavzot, to the bizayon.
No, bizayon can be like to a shame. But
right, shame. They'll shame. It's more than shame. But they'll shame their husbands in their eyes. They'll say, the king said to bring Vashti Malka and she didn't come. And today, all the sarot paras umadai, the nobility, the women that will hear this thing, and it will be horrible, it will be shameful. This is not political. This is not an event in the level of politics. This is more dangerous than politics. This is control in the house. Why is this such a powerful thing? Because for nation number 33, what happens between the king and the queen is way, way above his head. But if you threaten what's happening in his house, this isn't the 21st century, okay? This is no women's lib. There's no rights. This is 2,500 years ago, okay? Women were not free, okay? Let's not mistake it. In other words, saying that there is a chance that your wife will say no when you tell her to bring your coffee.
How dare she?
That is the worst thing I can possibly believe. What they do is they turn. This is Memuchan's genius. Listen, you guys listening? This is Memuchan's genius. Using a threat to the king and turning it into threat to every single person in the empire. And then what happens? Now let's talk. Who is he really sending this to? This is Bavel, exactly. These are who we need to talk to. The Babel, because we're about to do something. We're about to take their queen off. And just to do that, they'd go, what are you talking about? She's our power. She's the one who presents us. How do I convince the men of Bavel to be on board with getting rid of the queen?
We love her, we're
Never
loyal.
let a good crisis go to waste.
Very good.
We love her, we're loyal, but
she's endangering us.
you can't do that.
That's right. Exactly right. She's endangering me.
See what Achashverosh.
Exactly right. She's endangering us.
Now you understand,
He
right?
took the threat. He takes the threat that was really a political threat.
Your coffee. What would you do?
Right? He's bringing the threat.
Come here.
Shh. Guys, he's bringing the threat that was what really happened we saw in the previous psukim. Yeah. Now he's making up a narrative that really, this is not what happened. Even though, as any real good spinster will say, you can't make up a story.
But it did happen.
Exactly. You can't make up a story. There has to be something that happened here. But what exactly happened? That I'll tell you what happened. The queen didn't come. That people know. Why? What's the backdrop? What really is happening here? We're going to tell the story. This is what Memuchan says. We're going to tell this story. Everyone quickly. That's what they're going to do. They're going to send out these things, right? They're going to send this out everywhere. No one, listen to what this is. This is Facebook. I'm going to send this out to everyone. And you know who wins?
The men.
The person who sends it out first. He who gets out the first yidiyah, the first narrative, they win. Because that's how people work. The first narrative you hear, that's what gets embedded. Now when someone else sends something, you're like, oh, 1 second, maybe, what, I don't know. But the first one that you get out, that's why it's so important to get it out quickly, to change it. That's why spins can't happen after a long time. They have to happen when it's hot. Because once people know the truth, it's harder to spin it.
Whistleblowers.
What?
That's the biggest tragedy.
That you have?
Whistleblowers.
What do?
They leak information prematurely.
Which is also a catastrophe. And it's the other side of this, right? That's giving out the truth before it's time for it to go out. There's a time for everything. Yodei ha'itim. The wise men who know the times. They are... Guys, these are the ones to do it. So this is what he does. We can't have the women taking control. We can have the women breaking free, and now just see how beautiful this is, because really,
a cultural revolution.
Really, but the battle here was on control. It was on the king's level of control. But what he does, the same way he let everyone drink, he says, oh, you guys are threatened the same way I'm threatened. Just like I allowed you to be part of my government and choose your wine, I'm going to now show you how the threat to me is a threat to you. We're threatened, exactly. We are threatened. The king, everyone's threatened here. Not just me, you too. And once he does that, and as Ariel said correctly, really this is sent to the Babylonians. But it may be the Babylonians may have also allies. And they have people who are more loyal to Bavel than to Paras. And he makes them not so sure of themselves in this case. They would, if he just threw Vashti out, if he just chopped her head off like we learned in kindergarten, right? Oh, he says off with her head. That wouldn't have worked. That would have been civil war. That would have knocked off the empire. No, but now to get rid of Vashti, now to bring her out of the picture, we understand. You know what? She overstepped her boundaries. You know, women have to know their place. And the reason that works is because the individual threat everyone has and their need to be in control. Everyone needs to be in control. And again, 2005 years ago, part of your control was over your wife and your household. Real control over your wife. That threat is fearful to any man, to any person. You're going to lose your control. It's a threat. It's a threat. And especially there. Now, again, it's fascinating that they're using something that's not going to happen for another 2,500 years as a threat, but apparently it was always a threat. My wife is the one who has to be under my control, more so than anyone else. When we get to Esther, we're going to show why. Okay, Dafka, the wife, has a pull on us in a different way. We're going to see how Esther is going to use this to manipulate Achashverosh. But this is what's happening. This is the eitzah. This is the amazing advice that he gives to him, and this is what it is. So let's go on. Yeah.
You know what I always heard about Vashti's story was some miracles happened that she got some kind of illness.
She grew a tail.
She grew a tail. Right, that's what they say.
Some kind of chara or boil or something. What was the story about?
What is the Midrash trying to say there?
Yeah.
So first of all, this shiur is not learning everything and everywhere. Okay, I'm going in my way. I'm going to use the midrashim that I feel connected.
Really,
I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying. I'm not sure that it works with what I'm saying. I'm not sure if it works with what I'm saying. It may be a different kibbutz. It may be a nes, a miracle that happened. Of course, saying that she grew a tail may connect to the kelev. Remember the shegel with Nehemiah. right? So it may connect to there, but I'm going to leave that off for now because it's just not my direction, okay? But it's interesting to put that together. Okay.
That's a very good
Beseder. It connects us to other ways, okay? Beseder. Nehemiah, not Ezra. Tov, let's go on. Okay, so let's go about Pasuk Kaf, right? V'nishma Pidgam HaMelech. So now it goes out. Pidgam HaMelech is the king's word. Goes out. Bechol Malchuto. Because it's great. His empire is great. He has to add that. It's great. His empire is great. Rabbi means it was very large, what it means. But it also means it was great. It's great, your empire. We can't lose it. V'chol anashim yitnu yakar levalehem lemigadol vad katan. This is important to say lemigadol vad katan. Remember who's in his... Where do we see migadol vad katan? From the greatest to the lowest? At the 7-day party. He brought everyone migadol ad katan. There's a symmetry here. Okay? The king always needs everyone. Everyone has to be involved. Everyone has to be... There's no katan for Achashverosh. We're going to see there's no katan for Haman either. People who need control, even a tiny dissident, right?
Mordecai.
Even a tiny dissident drives them up the wall. They can't take that. When Achashverosh invited everyone, he had everyone. We said the garbage collector, the guy in charge of the garbage. Everyone has to be there to witness his greatness. Everyone there has to witness his complete control. And now when he sends out, he's going to have every person feel that need for control. Everyone should understand and agree with what the king is doing. Everyone. They all have to feel, even the lowest man in his house, he is the king. Everyone's threatened here. This is the genius of Memuchan. You have to understand the genius of Memuchan. Okay, he is not...
I want one.
What?
I want one.
What?
A
Memuchan. Yeah, it would be amazing to have one with you. This guy is a genius. In other words, he is diffusing what's happening, turning it into a different story, and in a sense, he strengthens the king. Because the king, the king is the guy. He's number one man in the empire. Right? He's guy number one. The man's man. He is the guy. And he is strengthening my guy, right? I'm a little nothing in Medina 44. I'm in control. This is what he's sending out. Hey, lady, I'm in control. You think he needed to say this? You think he needed to say something like this? Right? You think he really needed to do this? Yeah. In 2,500 years ago, the women didn't think they have control. Believe me, they did not think they're going to go vote someone out of office, okay? But there's always the fear. There's always the fear. And the king, Memuchan, pulls on that fear, says, everyone's going to be. V'itav hadavar be'enei hamelech ve'asarim. Whoa, good plan, Memuchan. Good, we like it. I like it. Promotion. Let's go. Vayas hamelech kedvar Memuchan. The king does like Memuchan. Now, this is a very important pasuk. The king did like someone else. Vayas hamelech kedvar Memuchan. Whoa. Interesting. The king does. No, the king. We get another picture of his palace. He listens. The king. He's willing
because he's smart
to do right, but he's willing to listen to someone else. It's a fascinating thing. The king is a smart king in this sense. He is not stupid. We said his stupidity. We said the fault line that we're going to see how it plays out in the future. But right now, Achashverosh comes out as someone who had a good plan, a sound plan.
And it all went away.
It all went away, and it was salvaged by in a sense, at the end of the day, he's in the best position. He's in the best position he could be, because he got rid of his political rival, his wife, and now he's in control. At the end of the day, he got to where he wanted to get, just not the way he did, not the way he thought he would. He wanted to turn her into a token queen. Into, the pretty lady who's next to him for the pictures. He got rid of her. And he managed to get rid of her. Wow, in his wildest dreams, he couldn't have imagined something like this. What do you say? Turn crisis into benefit, right? Amazing. This is what very wise political people know how to do. They take something that you saw as a complete catastrophe and flip it. the first na'afochu of the Megillah. The Megillah, na'afochu, always turns things around. That's Megillat Esther. From not seeing, Esther is not seeing. Hester means how do you say Hester? Covered.
Concealment.
Conceal. It's concealment. Thinking. Because Esther is concealed to viewed. This is the first flip that happens in the thing to reveal. From concealed to revealed. This is the first flip that happens. A na'afochu. Almost every chapter will see a na'afochu. Things will flip. Things that you thought were one way turn another way. And here Achashverosh wanted something, it flipped and flips back. And he manages to get out of it. וישלח ספרים אל כל מדינות המלך, אל מדינה ומדינה ככתבה, ואל עם ועם כלשונו. He sends it to every single state and every place, they translate it to every language. להיות כל איש שורר בביתו, ומדבר כלשון עמו. Interesting. What does that mean? Sorer bebeito means he is in charge of the house. Umedaber b'lshon amo. I saw an interesting perush on this. It means, what is it?
Speak the language of his own people.
What does that mean?
Speak their mother tongue.
What?
Speak in their mother tongue.
So good.
Yeah.
Speak in whose mother tongue?
The local one.
The husband's.
The husband. Yeah.
The husband's. Okay, this is a umedaber b'lshon amo. Not amma. He says, from now on, all wives have to speak the language of the husband. Is that an actual language, English, Hebrew, right? Or is it, you guys have to change your custom? It's a fascinating diyun in halacha. When you get married, Sephardi, Ashkenazi, Sephardi, does the wife have to take on the husband's minhagim?
Depends.
Machloket?
Depends.
It's
It
a,
could be,
the wife is Sephardi, then the husband takes
it's a machloket. It's a
If the
machloket.
husband is Sephardi, she takes on his.
Good, thank you, sure.
Works,
Great. It's a machloket between the poskim. What do you do? Does you have to? Do you not have to? Do you have to or not?
Yes, because.
But it's an issue.
I would say yes,
This
dude,
right here is a
because
spin.
if the daughter was a Kohen, she then takes on the Holocaust of Yisrael or Levi, not the Kohen.
No, it's a good. But
Also, her children become
his.
whatever.
He is.
Yeah.
Good. Yafe. But I'm telling you, I'm not raising this for a discussion. I'm telling you, in halacha, it's a discussion between the poskim. Really, they decide. What do you do? Does a woman have to accept the husband's thing? And some say yes, and some say no. But this is exactly what we're talking about: the control or not control. What is happening here between husband and wife? It's always. It's who's the man in the family? Who wears the pants, right? It's always a question. What exactly is?
Jewish, the wife wants to not wear pants.
Depends which Jewish house. But guys, but one second. Let's because we're finishing up here and we're almost done with the parak. Machon Bishon Amo is just an interesting point. He has to speak in his language. That's what the psak here. See, every man is in control and everyone has to speak in his language. Whatever his language is, whatever it is, it's the actual language or his cultural language.
And what man doesn't feel, especially in Bavel, doesn't feel good about this?
This nachon.
Good, we put down a cultural rebellion.
Right. We put down a cultural rebellion, we put down in the house rebellion, we put down a family We're okay. I don't know if they're 100% happy, but it's okay. It was the horrible catastrophe is averted. Okay? The complete collapse of the empire is averted. People are okay. Achashverosh consolidated control. He has more control now than he had before. He has no person who's ruling with him. This is where we are. This is how Perek Aleph ends. And now we have a king with no queen, which isn't the harshest thing for him. It's not the end of the world. We'll see. He's going to remember he's going to want a queen, but he's not really so quick. It's not so quick. He doesn't need it to happen right away. It's going to take years before Esther becomes queen. 4 years it's going to take before Esther becomes queen. 4 years, he's okay. He's all right without. Exactly. In a sense, it's recovery from this almost loss of control. He's a recovery from this almost loss of control. It takes some time, and it's okay. We're going to see how he restores the feeling of control.
He's in therapy for 4 years.
He's going to see his therapy. It's going to be more than 4 years. Good, I like that. He's going to be in therapy. But before we go on to chapter 2. Next week, Be'ezrat Hashem on Sunday, we're going to meet Chazal's take on Perek Aleph. And that is, where are the Jews? We just had a whole chapter, which as Shmuel said is real politics, it's amazing. Where are the Jews? What in the world is this doing in the Tanakh? And we're going to meet them. Okay, we're going to meet them. We're going to meet the Jews. Only a little bit. In a sense, 2 psukim that we're going to see. And these 2 psukim, well, really it's 1 pasuk. It's a whole long midrash about, it works on the words v'kelim mikelim shonim, that when everyone knows when we read the Megillah, we read it in the Manginav Eicha. V'kelim mikelim shonim. But then you go back. But then you go back to the regular Mangina, to the regular trump, the regular trick. You read it. We read that in the Manginav Eicha. Eicha is Lamentations.
There's like 3 or 4 parts.
Chazal, exactly. Chazal have something on this kelim. They're going to say these kelim are not stam kelim. These kelim are important.
They're the kelim.
They are the kelim, exactly. They are the kelim of Beit HaMikdash. We're going to see this next week. And what are the Jews doing there? And are they there? Are they part of the banquet? Did they come? Where are they? Pshat, they're not here. We're going to talk about what they're doing there and that they're there and what that means that they're there.
It means that Jews have power.
And then,
obviously only the powerful people were at this party.
and then we're going to go on. We'll just wait. We'll see what it means, and we're going to go on to chapter 2. Maybe on Sunday. Maybe on
Quick
Tuesday.
question: Is Nehemiah here at this party?
No, Nehemiah is later. He's in Artach Shasta's time. This is before his time.
He would have been.
But he was before. Interesting.
Are we going to
Good question.
We're going to cover the entire Megillah in 100
Good stuff.
days?